From selling customized socks out of a backpack in college to competing with titans such as Lululemon. This brand generated $10 million in revenue last year through expanding its product line and leveraging the power of digital marketing. This is FEAT. Let's go. Boom. What's up, everyone? Sean Azari here. I'm with Matt Skopak.
Hey, how's it going, everyone?
Welcome to Deep Dive, episode 37, where we dive into businesses like FEAT and dive into the marketing and business strategies such that you can take these strategies and implement them into your business. This brand started in 2015, really out of college.
Out of college.
I think UMass.
Yeah.
They're both entrepreneurs. They both had separate small companies, and they decided to, I believe Taylor was selling socks. They considered themselves the drug dealers of socks, because they'd literally be standing outside of dining halls and like classrooms and just selling socks.
Yeah.
And they sold
20,000 pairs, almost $1 million in revenue in college just selling socks out of a backpack.
2019, they came out with a proprietary blend, expanded to their product line, which in hoodies and so forth. And I believe, Matt, if I'm not wrong here, they got two types of investments. One was
actually from one of their advisors in college. I think it was a maybe $15,000 or $25,000 loan with some ownership in it. And then they took a bigger investor. I think it was $1 million for 10%, which all of us for valuations would be a $10 million valuation. And that's kind of when things went downhill. And that's what we're going to talk about, kind of how they pivoted and where they are now and maybe why they made those adjustments.
So yeah, and what I like about this company, I mean, there's just some back and forth Matt and I have, but I do see a lot of great efforts they're doing. I mean, they only have about 3 to 5 employees. I think when they got their investment in the beginning, they thought, like what a lot of people would think, you just hire employees, you hire a graphic designer and so forth. And they went all out and quickly realized they were running out of cash, which is obviously they didn't take a lot of investment here. So what you're gonna see what they're doing, they look like they're running a 30-person team. Their branding is actually phenomenal. I think that's a good enough context before we get into the main points. Why don't you dive into number one?
So number one, you need to up your value proposition to sell higher value items such as what they do now, sweatshirts for $140. And I see really two things that they do here that really equate to them and their ability to sell these higher priced items. First, they have a new focus on sustainability, which is a huge theme within the last couple of years with global warming and with the focus on the environment. We see a lot of companies focusing on sustainability. Allbirds focuses on it. This company, FEAT, F-E-A-T, has recently put a very big emphasis on sustainability. They talk about how they're giving back because they do transfer and ship products from China to LA to their warehouse. So they talk a lot about how they're giving back in sustainability, but they're also doing something with very interesting, which I think is a huge value proposition, is a lot of their custom fabrics that they've now come out with for their sweatshirts or t-shirts are basically trademark or officially registered fabrics that use a lot of sustainability through tree fibers. I think they're called, one is called Blanket Blend, that's their soft sweatshirt material. Another is called Tree Cell, which I believe they use in their t-shirts, which is a soft fiber made from trees. And the other is called Flow Tech, which is for their performance line for just cooling and fabric that's very, that doesn't get sweaty. This is in line very much with Allbirds. Allbirds was doing the same thing. They're patenting and basically trademarking new fabrics using trees with this focus on sustainability. And I own a restaurant business. I have some experience there. Whenever you basically get products that are more sustainable, say like plastic straws versus wooden straws or something else, everyone's gone to Starbucks and they use these straws now that dissolve quicker and is quite annoying. However, those items cost more money. So that ability to be more sustainable has also, though, increased their AOV, their average order value, and their ability to actually get customers to pay $140 for a sweatshirt, which maybe not crazy for brands that are driven like Givenchy or Louis Vuitton, but like for a new brand that just created sweatshirt line for
Some of the hoodies are like $158.
$158 to just sell them right off the line and do 10 million in revenue last year on basically a new product line. It's impressive. So when you are selling higher priced items, you need to have a value proposition that makes customers really get behind and basically make the purchase. So examples of what they did, Allbirds, but that's a big trend that you'll see: sustainability and then these custom fabrics made out of trees.
They're just basically going all in on the, being the most comfortable hoodie, right? And obviously, like when you're saying increasing their value proposition, but they have to differentiate themselves, right? There's a lot of people that are creating these hoodies, but people are not stressing enough. Like they're actually really stressing in their ad copy, in their actually creative, in the what's it called? When you go on their website, their product names, everything you'll see, softest, the most softest hoodie, the most comfortable hoodie.
You see the world's most comfortable hoodie. They did that with the socks, the world's most comfortable socks. When you say that those kind of items, it just gives you instant credibility that people think, oh well, they're ranked the most comfortable sweatshirt. Guys, they're not fucking ranked the most comfortable fucking hoodie. That's just something that they say to
very
get
smart
credibility.
SEO
Very
too.
smart SEO, yes.
Think about it, like Ruggable, for instance, one of the brands that we talked about in the past. Washable rugs. Allbirds, most comfortable shoe. I don't know if they say most comfortable shoe, but they just said something like that, right? It's all of these, they're really going all in on that value proposition.
Of course.
They're their tagline and so forth, so they're being known for that. Even as small as that, that's what they're gonna be known for, and then the people will align with themselves with that brand.
Yep. They even include the fabric names in their shorts. Like when they say, hey, I think it's called their blanket, hey, look, our blanket blend shorts are on sale. So they even say the fabric name with the type of product as well, which is interesting. So they're really trying to give that value proposition even in the items' names.
Number 2, separate SKUs that are unisex into different products or a collection. So I actually love this feat. I learned this, and I'm actually going to implement this in Reborn, where I expand the apparel side, where I saw that they are basically, because a lot of their hoodies are unisex, they have products set up such that the same hoodie name, I forgot what was it was blanket something, right? Same picture, exact same things, it's the same hoodie, right? But it's set up in 2 different products. So like when the SKU number is different and so forth. So when a guy is looking, like when you create your pages, like women's collection, men's collection, you don't want one product to show the men's image. Like if you go on a page, it's showing lifestyle shots of women. If you're a guy, let's say you're shopping around for yourself, you don't care how the woman looks, you want to see how the guy looks. So you're just flooding with too many images, and I had this problem, and I was trying to figure out
There's a negative stigma too. If for me personally, I'm thinking about it, if I should go onto a website and like I see a piece of clothing that could be unisex, I probably would put a negative stigma in my mind on that product, being like, I'm looking for things that are for men, for masculine. Not something that's going to be like, hey, is that a woman's sweatshirt? If that's a guy's sweatshirt, I mean, you remember getting probably made fun of as a kid.
No, I mean, that's
saying that,
true.
but like that's a truthful. Never would have thought about it. I mean, you just learned it. I would never.
And it's something I was stuck with. I was trying to figure it out. I was just like, hey, should I separate my SKU? I wasn't sure. I didn't know if it was going to affect anything. And the more I thought about it, I'm like, it made more sense. I just didn't think. I thought it was going to be a little messy. I think it's great for SEO purposes. Also, when you're taking, again, lifestyle, like they're actual lifestyle shots for the men. I believe they're men's, that for the product for the men, there's actually more shots than the one in the women. I think the one for the women's side, it's just flat mock-ups where I'm saying you just see the hoodie, you don't see a lifestyle shot, which you're probably still gonna take and so forth. So, and it's great for catalog purposes when Google and Facebook is feeding into a catalog, right? When you're separating female and male, you're not gonna, when you do these dynamic, I don't wanna get too technical, but these dynamic product ads, and if you're targeting, if you're using this type of objective, if you're targeting men and you're showing a shot because they probably visited that page, they're not going to really remember that product. And like, what is this? Why am I looking at this shot? It doesn't relate to me. So separating your SKUs when it's unisex is key.
Awesome. Number 3, these guys, FEAT, F-E-A-T, Tyler, Patrick, they are collaboration pros. What they really do well, I'm going to kind of bring you through a timeline. So they first started with Ali Raisman, who was a gold medalist for the Olympics, and they really partnered with her selling their original company, which was socks. They were really good at basically partnering with influencers and then selling customized socks. So I know Ali partnered with them on socks that were for breast cancer awareness, I believe. And then she also did a custom run of like for parenting, like her parents, I think, pictures of her parenting and cartoonish, like when she was in the Olympics, of like a weird like moment they were called in. But they went viral, and I think she sold about $200,000 of socks when she did a collab with them. And they did photo shoots. There's great brand awareness and a great collaboration between them, because we always talk about make sure your influencer basically is a great fit for your brand. They believe in them. The partnership was just awesome.
Also, like they're part of your creation process,
yes,
which is really
they
important.
let her create the product, which I love. I was reading up on the article on all the articles. When they do collaborations, they give the ability for who the celeb or whoever the influencer is, if they're big enough, to actually create a product or create the design that they want.
Yeah, when they did with Logan Paul, when they were in the sock, which I'm actually still confused why they don't sell the socks.
Yeah, well, I'm going to get to that.
Yeah, when they collaborated with Logan Paul, they did the Maverick, the parrot, which is something he's known for.
Yep.
So it aligned with who he is. So that was a great, a feature for them. And obviously, they sold a lot by doing that.
Exactly. They basically take advantage of what that influencer is known for, and then they add it into socks. And then most recently in their new company, it's the same company, but their clothing line, they had partnered with Helen Owens. She's like a travel extraordinaire. She's a blogger, a model, and also a designer. And they let her design certain designs for their sweatshirts. And this sold out. Line went crazy, sold out in like a month or two, and they're actually doing a revamp now in 2021. But basically, you watch like the artwork, and we'll show you some here, like where she's basically doing videos of it, lifestyle pictures with them, and she's just a great representation of the brand. So this is very something, I mean, we struggle with it. I'm not sure Sean struggled with it in his companies, but it's very hard to actually leverage influencers really well so that like it's a win-win for everyone. Usually a lot of the time, I'm sure it's been a lot of the time for FEAT as well, it's a bust. There's just not that sell-through where the influencer's audience actually takes a liking to the brand, just because it doesn't feel authentic. So it's something very hard to do, but FEAT has done a great job with it, it's just good to see how companies actually do it and try to learn from it.
I really do believe that to really efficiently leverage influencers, not just like pay to play and so forth, is to get them involved with your product line if you can, like especially the bigger ones.
You have to go all in. At the end of the day, guys, like Sean's saying, you need to go all in if you're working with influencers. These payments of $1,000, $5,000, $25,000 to get a big influencer, whatever it might be, it doesn't work. I mean, maybe you'll make your money back, maybe depending on your margins and things like that, but it doesn't work. Like, you need to go all in. You need to have them really bring them in, let them design a product or let them design something, and let them have basically a say in what it is and how it relates to their audience, and do a revenue sharing plan. I know in FEAT's articles, one of the articles, they do a revenue share plan of anywhere from 10% to 80%, depending on the influencer. But it's the way to go. You need to go all in and not just a fake picture and whatnot.
Here, think about this. If you're working with, let's say, a vlogger that has a decent following, they vlog, let's say, maybe, I don't know, every day or once a week. But let's say if you actually partner up with this person that has, let's say, 500,000 YouTube subscribers, right? They'll create maybe a video. I mean, it's up to them, but you have to give them that incentive, right? Hey, you'll get 10% revenue share. You'll also get XYZ. You'll get also a payment, right? If you want, you could imply, I mean, they'll probably do it. They show the behind the scenes process of them making, like, hey, guys, I'm making something. Like, this could be a whole video of like their creation, the creation process. You're basically building up until the finish line. And guess what? Especially with YouTube, and they actually mention this a lot, right? They love YouTube. I mean, working with YouTube influencers and so forth, the video is always there. Unlike Instagram right now, as in 2021, it's still like once you post something, it's gone. I mean, it's there, but it's hard. It's not searchable, right? Whereas when you go on a YouTube video, it's always there. People are always watching these videos.
Good for SEO purposes.
Yeah, it's great
as well.
for SEO. It's always generating traffic organically, which is great. And that's the winning key, the winning formula, right? Less paid ads, more organic traffic.
So I guess that's one of our new things as well. Go all in on influencer marketing. Just don't pay for a picture or something like that. Go all in, revenue share, design a custom basically collaboration, just like FEAT did.
Number 4, increased abandoned cart revenue by testing other services beside email marketing. I know a lot of us, hopefully a lot of us,
How about we start? What's abandoned cart?
Abandoned cart is when a user goes to your website, adds the product to your cart, and decides to maybe go to the bathroom, you take a dump, and completely forgot about your product, and that's it. You want to remind them to come and buy the product, or perhaps it might have been too expensive for them. Maybe you need some sort of urgency or an incentive for them to buy now and not later. So that's what that is. A lot of people, what FEAT did, and they know this, and obviously you got to set up all these platforms. I mean, not all of them, but see what works and what doesn't, and leverage the one that has higher open rates and it's converting a lot for you. FEAT, I think Taylor even mentioned this in one of his videos. He said, look, and it's true, we get spammed so much email on a day-to-day basis. We're gonna skip these campaigns that are sent by the brands. So what are other ways? They tested a third-party service. I think it was called Octane AI. This is not something you don't have to test the service out. There's tons of third-party apps, but it helped them connect with Facebook Messenger. Whereas there will be if the abandoned cart would remind them in Facebook message to come back to the site to purchase, hey, you forgot something in your cart, buy it now, get 10% off and so forth. I don't know if that was their actually campaign, but they use Facebook Messenger because Facebook Messenger, when you get that ping, you're more likely to open it, just like they say.
Yeah, because you probably think it's like a hot girl that you've been wanting to talk to and she's messaging you.
Yeah, but you also but you also have those notifications on your phone.
Yeah, you just always, if you get a notification for a message either on Instagram or Facebook, you never leave it open. Like it's the call to action is 20 times more than a message. I think we actually did this in Sweetberry. Is we had a collaboration where we actually sent messages for a free bowl to Facebook through Facebook Messenger, and the conversion rate compared to email was like 3 times as much.
Just like with Sweetberry's, the fast casual restaurant,
the acai bowl, the health store.
Matt and I, with app notifications, that's another way. That's another outlet. Those have higher open rates than email. So all these other services.
Especially when your partner signs you up for every email mailing list that you do a podcast on.
You're probably getting
We're up to
spammed
37 now. Every day I get 37 emails from these different companies.
Yeah, you're definitely getting Fashion Nova, women's apparel brand.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. The Mother's Day emails are out crazy.
That's great. Well, I mean, we're diving in.
I'm learning through emails.
Yep.
So that's funny. Number 5. This is a question now we're going to talk a little bit. This is going to be a little bit different point. There's no really message here than understanding how me and Sean think and maybe why things happen. So the question why I thought in my head is, why did they move away from their main product of socks, which is what they launched with? So if you go to their website now, there's not even socks on the website. I couldn't find anywhere where I could actually buy their FEAT socks anymore. So I'm thinking in my head, why I don't think this was a good idea, because you probably had a good amount of customers if you did millions, $1 million, $2 million, $3 million in sales selling socks. That good product, it was comfortable. You probably could have repeat customers and have another business that was doing a good amount of revenue, millions of dollars. So I was thinking possible ideas why they stopped. They talked about it when they began the company. You need to put in large purchase orders to really make a profit. So that's one thing when you start a business. If you put in small purchase items just to see if something's going to work, you're never going to make money, because the cost to get maybe 100 items compared to 10,000 items, it's going to be probably, instead of 80 cents, it's going to be $3.20, and your profit margin just isn't there. And that's one of the things that all of us deal with when starting a business, is the scalability in terms of being able to order enough things that your cost is low enough. But what they struggled with is it sat in inventory. And when things sit in inventory, there's only one way to move through that inventory: discounting the items. When you discount the items, you discount the brand. So that's an issue with which everyone starts with, especially when you're selling and you order in massive quantities. So maybe they just didn't want to hold on to the inventory anymore. Also, socks compared to hoodies. We talked about it. Socks cost $10 to $12. Hoodies cost $140. So you can see the move now to higher average order value items, which me and Sean always talk about. Probably not a lot of profit margin in socks. How many pairs of socks did they probably have to sell to make the same cost, the same profit margin as a $140 hoodie? Probably like $30, $40, $50, $60 pairs. How many pairs of socks do people actually buy? Do they buy one customizable pair of socks, or do they buy 20? I'm gonna go with probably 1 to 2. So those are all ideas of how I would think, why did they move away from socks and into more of a brand?
So I think they either made a mistake for just leaving the socks. First of all, what is it? FEAT? No, it's feetapparel.com, right?
It's feetclothing.com now.
Feetclothing.com. I really think they're going to come back with the socks thing. I think it's just what we're seeing right now. It just doesn't make sense for me. Like that's their brand. You could still keep that. It's inexpensive. That's how you brand it. That's how you got the recognition. People still buy socks. You get the most comfortable sock. So I think they're going to probably create, my prediction, I don't know if this is true. Remember, what day is it today? Today is May 3rd, May 4th, 2021. So maybe when you're watching this, you're going to see socks. Maybe they're coming up with a proprietary blend for socks. Maybe they're going to come out with the most comfortable sock, because before it was just customized socks. It didn't match their brand. Now it's all about their proprietary blend, their sustainability. It's all about that.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why they kind of went away.
Me and Sean talked about this. This company seems to be, let's remember, these kids are really young. They started this business out of college. They were, if you read actually about them, they were on the show The Profit, where basically they work with entrepreneurs. It was just a chaos on the show. They had big egos. They weren't working well with the team. And basically the host didn't want to work with them in the sock company, tried to put it into a new company where they would just collaborate, create a digital marketing media company where they would do the digital marketing because they were so good, and then they would grow revenue for other companies, and they just weren't team players. They were young, and then you hear other stories about credit cards, like how their team members processed like tens of thousands of dollars of like credit cards, and they had to fire them, and the company was losing money, and they were basically going to stop the company. But they're very smart. They're smart kids. They're young though, and that's one thing that we have to remember. Now looking at this company and FEAT and the clothing line, it looks like there's some kind of other leadership other than the marketing that's involved. It reminds me a lot of Allbirds
and Warby Parker.
MVMT, Warby Parker. There's a different picture. There's a different
Something's
style.
happening.
Something's mature about this company. I don't know if it's investors came in or someone else is helping that's from Warby or MVMT, but the whole brand it looks different to me. The atmosphere, it looks like it's ran by women, which me and Sean looked. There's, I think, 5 employees now. 3 of them are women, and then obviously you have Taylor and Patrick still. But there's something off about this brand. Not off. It's going a different direction. I think
Completely.
Either they matured and they brought in help to really help them grow into a different area.
Like even they're serious when they're saying collabing with the other these influencers. Literally their format. I mean, they only did it with I think
Helen
at
Owens.
least Helen, right?
Yeah.
The series they've done with her is very similar to Warby. Was it Warby? Warby Everywhere or
Warby?
No, that's Reborn Everywhere. So it's Wearing Warby, I think. They have a series where, and I really, when we went over Warby Parker, I literally took this exact strategy and implemented it to Reborn, which is called Reborn Everywhere, where I listened to the person that was getting interviewed, how they were answering questions, and I created a question series that went along to like, what's your name and what do you do? And then you'll see Helen saying, you don't hear the question, hi, my name is Helen and I am a blah, blah, blah. Then the next question, the person's answering, but you don't hear the question again. You just hear them answering. Oh, the first time I tried FEAT and blah, blah, blah. Like you just hear that. It's a serious, it's getting to know the person. So they're really doing that strategy. And again, like we said, with Allbirds as well, they're
collab is the same thing. Didn't Allbirds do a collab where they said like Allbirds X this person? I think it was the same exact thing.
I believe. No, that was Warby Park with Superman Clark Kent, I believe.
Was it? It
could have both, actually.
Guys, there's just something very similar to what this company is doing. Maybe they're just learning from the best like we are, and they're just basically mimicking, but something seems off, not in a bad way, in a good way. Something they either matured or they got help from someone, which they're moved away from socks. They're going from higher AOVs now.
Number 6, don't shy away from outsourcing. FEAT, as I mentioned earlier, when they got that initial investment, or maybe that second investment of $1 million, they started hiring full-time employees. They hired a graphic designer. They hired people they probably didn't need or
Huge sales
realize.
team.
And what?
Huge sales team. They hired.
Huge sales team, and they were just running, depleting out of cash. Look, in today's world, and we're realizing this after also post-COVID. I mean, still doing COVID, but what you could do a lot more outsourcing. People working virtually from home and conducting a leadership and directing people, setting up video calls, directing people through Skype video calls, Slack video calls, or whatever it is you guys are using. It's more efficient today. We have the tools that allows us to do more outsourcing, which is obviously it's much more expensive. And a lot of times, you get a lot more efficiency from the people that you're outsourcing with, especially if you're doing it right.
Yeah, you have to train them. You have to train them very well. You have to make sure your partner, especially customer service, you need to train them well, have a great template for them of how to answer questions. Third-partied out their 3PL, which is like their fulfillment center of orders, because they had a huge disaster with the sock company where I think it was like $100,000 in orders they had to actually refund, because when they basically used to fulfill all their orders and they basically couldn't do it, so they had to refund $100,000. I think that was one of their biggest mistakes when they were asked that question.
So full-time versus outsourcing, think about it. If you need to really hire someone full-time, sometimes you just need to, then go for it. But that's not the most efficient way all the time, especially
once you scale too. What we always talk about in the beginning, it's good to do everything yourself because you learn everything, you see how things work, you see the issues. In the beginning, it is good. However, when you start scaling and you get these big influencers and you're generating $200,000, $500,000, and that's all coming in once, that's going to put pressure on your supply chain, on your ecosystem. So that's when you start scaling. Think about these outsourcing of customer service, of your fulfillment center, and any other items that you could think of, really, that it's feasible.
And by the way, a lot of companies, big corporations do this all the time.
Huge.
Like, especially for customer service, they're outsourcing in the Philippines, India. Those are the two main.
Think about Amazon, selling on Amazon. It's all separate fulfillment centers. Like, Amazon does what they do the best, fulfill.
Exactly. All right, guys, do you have anything else?
That's all I got.
That was episode 37. Guys, if you like this episode, if you're listening to this iTunes, Spotify, and so forth, give us a 5-star review if you like this content. If you think this is going to help another entrepreneur, share this content as well. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you want to see more weekly videos like this, subscribe, hit the thumbs up button if you liked it. And if you have any questions, you could tweet us. You got @mscopac and @Sean_Azari, or you can leave the questions in the comments below. And we will see you next week. Ciao.